The idea of freedom is the only thing going through your mind when you're a teenager. Well, that and probably porn. But like, let's be family friendly here. When you were a teen, you were begging for the years to fly by so you could turn 18 and gain that freedom that you've always wanted. No more asking your parents for money to buy V-Bucks. No more having parents with you to buy M-rated games at GameStop. Like, I can finally buy Fallout 76 without my parents with me. This is amazing, dude. This is freedom. Not war, not America. This Fallout 76, Todd Howard. That is freedom. No more asking your parents when you can hang out with your friends. Like, you are truly free. But those years between 13 and 17 can be mentally challenging for teenagers that are sitting there begging for their life to pass them by. But what if I told you that there were companies out there that were trying to bring that freedom to 13 to 17-year-olds everywhere? Well, mostly in bigger cities, but everywhere. That's where today's video comes in, right? So I was watching YouTube while taking an online final for college, and there was some wild stuff going on in that video. It was an Oopaville video, so if you know who Oopaville is, he's a freaking character.
Platform called Pump.Fun had generated over $100 million in revenues. Primarily, by people under the age of 25. That was just so uncalled for.
Right. So there was some stuff going on in the video, and he said something that made me kind of focus on the TV. I don't remember what it was, but he said something that made me focus on the TV for just a second, and then an ad played. It was almost like God himself wanted me to see this ad, like he was calling to me, saying, Cloudy, you have to make a video on this. It's weird, bro. And I was like, all right, I'm watching. What do you got for me, right? And that's where I found this. Welcome to the world of Uber Teens. So, Uber Teens is an extension onto the original Uber app. This allows kids from the age of 13 to 17 to be added to their parents' Uber account as verified children, and allows the kids to request Uber rides or Uber Eats from their parents whenever they want. This is weird, right? It could be a lot worse. I'll give them that. Barely. But just because something is less scary and shouldn't exist than it could be, doesn't mean it should exist anyways. That's not how this works. At least kids can't call an Uber without their parents' permission, at least they, 13-year-old rebel little Thomason can't call an Uber and sneak out of his window, hop in the Uber, and him and his driver Ricky or whatever go partying at the teenage bar, that can't happen, but that doesn't make the app less scary, So let's jump into this with the first fact that I want to bring up. And whenever I was writing the script for this video, I originally wanted to have it in sections, but I found so much stuff on this app and in the FAQs and all of that section about the app that I just kind of threw it all together because I genuinely couldn't believe it and I couldn't really put categories. So it's just kind of all threw together. But anyways, the first thing I want to think about is Uber Eats, right? I want to think about the Uber Eats idea because that's not terrible. Like, if it's summer vacation and Lil Thomason, I don't know why I keep saying Thomason, but he's my example subject now, so that's my example subject from now on. But let's say Lil Thomason is home alone over summer vacation. Sure, maybe he should have someone there to watch him or whatever, but, he's a grown teen that can handle himself. So let's say Thomason requests a certain order from Jack in the Box, and he wants to order this sandwich from Jack in the Box, right? He can send the cart request, the Jack in the Box cart request. Don't forget it's from Jack in the Box. And he can send that cart request to his mom or dad while they're at work, and he can get his jumbo jack with a large fry. That idea isn't terrible or, really even scary, because even if they get DoorDash, it's going to be the same thing where someone comes up to the door, delivers the food, and then leaves. It's the same thing. So this isn't really much scarier than using something like DoorDash. But, why Why can't his parents just text him and ask him what he wants and then make the Uber cart for him and have it delivered to the house? Like, I get that maybe him having the cart already put together and the parents just having to kind of press pay for maybe a little more convenient, but it doesn't make sense to have the time to take the time to verify little Thomason on the Uber account just to save that minute and a half of putting the cart together for him. Why not just text him, ask him what he wants, and then put the cart together and have it sent to the house? I mean, Uber Eats, DoorDash, every food delivery app allows you to change your address to somewhere different if you're ordering food. You know, it allows people from different cities or different places to order food and have it sent to a certain place if they aren't there. These apps don't limit you to only sending food where you currently are. Having to verify your child through Uber Eats is just weird. I mean, I get the fact of, like, it's trying to give that, like I said earlier, that freedom to 13 to 17-year-olds, but it's just, I don't know. It's weird. But I also think it's great to have safety features in place. You know, it's not like they haven't checked their boxes. Like, they've got different things like verify my ride and ride check, and they're all locked to on. They can't be disabled, which is great, and it makes the trip a little more safe. But there are so many things wrong with this, and I'm about to yap my head off to tell you about them. Like, trust me, when I say yap, we're about to yap. So while we're on the topic of the safety features, let's dive deeper on those first. So on the main website for Uber Teens, you can find information about the app, and there's a little panel that tells you about the safety features that can be locked to on while your child is with the driver. Here we see the panel for, like, the verify my ride portion, and it says, before a teen gets in the car, they'll have to give their driver a unique PIN. Drivers are unable to start a trip until they enter the correct code into the driver app. This will help the teen make sure they get into the right car. So a few things here, right? The teen has to give the driver a code before they enter the car, and then the driver types that code in, then that verifies they're in the correct car? I'm okay, so I'm a little confused, right? It sounds like the teen is giving a code to the driver, supposedly before they get into the car, I'm guessing through the app, and this would mean that the teen goes up to the car, the driver would have to put that PIN in that the teen gave them into the app, and then the teen knows it's the correct car. So the website didn't make that clear at all. Still hasn't really made that clear. It really confused me, but the way the website words it is basically like the teen is just supposed to create a code out of thin air and give the driver that code while they're at the car, and then the driver's like, oh yeah, that's it. You just made it up while you're looking at me. That's the right one. You're right. And then the teen just gets in. But, like, even with it making sense, like, thanks to me, by the way, like, imagine, like, what's stopping someone from just posing as Uber Teens, stealing the phone from the child, throwing the phone somewhere, and taking the kid? I mean, I get that the app has car identification and license plate identification, which the teen can see from the app. But, bro, people in this world find a way around everything to be evil, right? If a teen doesn't pay attention to every detail, they could end up getting kidnapped. And since the phone has all the security features, such as, you know, the tracking and all of that, the kidnapper can just get away clean as long as he steals the phone from the kid. Wait. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I just went back and watched the PIN video. I didn't see Uber had a PIN video on there yet. I just went back and watched it, and I want to revisit the PIN. So the girl in the video checks the play. Actually, let me play the video for you first.
When I first get the Uber, I get a 4-digit PIN. When I see them coming, I always make sure to check that the license plate and the car matches up to what's on the Uber app.
Hi there.
Hi, Morgan.
Yes.
I will say the PIN to them and they'll put it in.
1662.
And if it matches up, then I know for a fact that that's the Uber.
So the girl checks the plate, which everyone should do if you're using this horrible app. Like, please check your plates and make sure they're the right plates. And then she says the PIN to the driver. The driver puts the PIN into his phone, and that's it? Like, what's stopping the drivers from just making a fake app that says PIN verified when you type any code in and making it appear that the driver is correct? Like, all you have to do is just, like, type it into the phone and then say verified, and say, like, oh yeah, it's verified. Here, look at my end. And then if the kid says, well, it didn't go through on my end, the driver could just say, well, it may be bad service. Like, it went through on my end, you're good. The kid gets in, boom, they're gone. Like, tech scammers do this type of thing all the time where they use a fake platform to get people to, like, do, like, things like AnyDesk and stuff like that to get onto their computer. Kit Boga is an awesome YouTuber who is also like a genius at coding. And he tricks tech scammers into wasting their time on him trying to scam him by creating fake websites and stuff. But he showcases in his videos the websites that tech scammers use, the fake websites that they use to get people to sign up for AnyDesk, which allows them to get into their computers.
You the code. Now I will give you the code.
Does it need to be longer?
I
We'll
want
add
to
a
give
6
you the
to
code.
it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Honey, I think she's gonna give it to us, honey. But whatever, Christy, make sure that it's easy to remember, because I don't have a great memory.
You don't have to remember it because you don't.
If people can do this and use it maliciously, like the tech scammers, they could just make it seem that whatever pin the children give them is correct, and they could just escape with the kid through a simple app that they could put together for their phone. I think the process is definitely reversed. Like, the driver should have to give the pin first to reassure the child that it's the right driver. Like, he can see the code as well, and he knows the code before the child gives it to him. And then if they give him the right pin, then it's safe for the child to enter, right? Am I stupid? Or is that how it should be, right? Now, obviously, this would be different if the parents were present. If the driver is at the house of the teen they're picking up, the parents can supervise and make sure everything is going down smoothly. My scenario was kind of if the teen requests a ride while they're already separated from their parents. And this is a thing that the teens can totally do. In the ad I showed earlier, the teen is at the dentist office and requests a ride from his dad. That's where my hypotheticals come in, and really where kind of all the problems with this app come in. But something that isn't made clear as well on the app is the fact of, like, does the driver have to stay there and wait on the kid? I mean, on one hand, it would make sense, right? Like, this specific driver is allocated to the teen, so they don't have to worry about getting another driver and waiting without their parents for God only knows how long at a random place to get another driver. Like, they just re-put in their pin with the driver that they had before and go. But if we refer back to that ad that we seen earlier, the kid is already at the dentist, and his dad is at home. This means that the kid had to get an Uber Teens ride there. Then it shows that his new driver is 1 to 2 minutes away. This would mean that the original driver left and a new driver is on the way. How does that not scare you as a parent? Like, your child is at the dentist office alone and has to wait an unspecified amount of time for a car without any parental supervision. It makes sense, though. Actual Uber drivers leave whoever they've taken to somewhere once they get to where they need to go. And I think one of the services does have like a round trip option if it won't take that long or something like that, but that's not what this is. Imagine this, right? You know, your teen wants to go to the mall. You send him in an Uber Teens ride there, and that driver drops off your child and leaves. Your child is now at the mall, unsupervised, and to get back home, he has to wait even longer at the unsupervised mall for another car to come pick him up, leading to my first scenario possibly happening. It's crazy. And also, remember the mall idea too, because I'm going to come back to that later. Also, side note, the comments under the ads on YouTube are all on my side, hilariously. Like, this one even made a good point about the dentist doing an operation without the parental guardian there. Like, that's highly illegal. And also, how did the kid have all of his medication information and medical history with him to be able to do this? Like, I understand it's possible that he knows everything, but whenever I was like 13, I wasn't worried about all that. I was worried about Black Ops 2. So I'm not going to know any of that. So how does this work? Also, what if it's raining? I mean, isn't the kid more than likely going, like they're more than likely going to get in the car to exchange the pin and all that information? Like, this could easily just lead to the child getting kidnapped. I mean, like, we'll circle back to that. We'll circle back to that. Anyways, next I want to talk about the ride check feature. So if the child's phone is taken from them and disposed of when they are kidnapped, ride check does absolutely no good. That's all I have to say about that. It's just a tracking device. And if the phone's not with the child, it's useless. But also, the audio recording option is really weird. So Uber Teens allows you to choose if you want audio recording on. And this will record live audio and send all conversations and words back to the parental guardians. Like everything that that your teen and the driver say to each other will go back to the parent. And this is obviously a way for Uber to sell our information to companies that buy customer information for like targeted ads and scams, like, obviously, but we'll ignore that for now. What I want to focus on is when does the mic turn off? I would assume it's after the ride is over, but there's nowhere on the website that like fully says that unless it's buried in a terms of service menu somewhere. Does the microphone stay on until you're back home? Until you're closed out of the app? Does it stay on forever? What does it do? Is Uber listening to me right now? Like, what does it do? It doesn't clarify really anywhere on the website about when the microphone turns off. There is a part somewhere that I've seen that's kind of close, but it doesn't say anything. Like, and also, now I want to talk about the incident reporting feature, which says that the teens can report a safety incident that happened during the Uber trip themselves. That's good. That's amazing that they can do that. But it says specifically after the trip. After the trip, which means that if there's a safety incident during the trip, the teen can't report it then. He has to wait for the rest of the ride after the incident happened and then report the incident to Uber. Obviously, they could call 911. That option's in the app. But still, this part of the app is really freaking creepy and weird. But what's stopping a teen from being a troll as well, speaking of all this? Like, what's stopping a teen from just reporting an innocent driver for something heinous and getting fired? Like, there aren't really any ways to tell whether the report going into Uber is true. Like, there's no way to tell that. So immediately in my brain, my assumption is that Uber is going to work off of the thought that every incident report is true, right? So what's stopping a teen from reporting a driver for an incident that never happened and just getting that driver fired? I mean, teens love to frickin' be dicks. I mean, frickin' Travis Scott sent me, for example.
Yeah, Cactus Jack came in my mouth.
What?
But, like, is there some sort of verification in place to check incidents? I'm not sure about that. And guess you'll never believe what also doesn't make that clear. But another thing is that the teen is the only one that can change the trip destination during the trip. The website says that the teen can change the destination of the trip and the driver cannot. But the website is once again very vague about this. It doesn't say that the parent can change the destination or they can change it back after the teen changes it. Let's say your teen, Thomas, and everyone welcome back Thomas and say, hey, it's Thomason, come on in. Let's say Thomason has an appointment at the dentist, but Thomason hates the dentist, right? He opens the app and changes the destination to the mall or a video game store. And no, this isn't why I said remember the mall, that we're getting there. If you're the parent, assuming that you can't change the location, what do you do? Like, there's no way to get them back to the dentist. You're kind of just stuck watching your teen avoid his dentist appointment. This is why there has to be a way for the parents to change the teen's location back to where they need to go if they change it to somewhere they're not supposed to go. But the website, on initial look, had that nowhere listed at all. And another vague factoid that I found on the website is under this little tab here in the FAQ section that asks, where can teens take trips? To which Uber replied, teens can take trips that start and end in any city where teen accounts are live. And obviously that means that teens can use the app where the app has been approved. But the way they word it here makes it seem like they can take trips from city to city as long as they're approved cities. And, I'm from Kentucky, so that made me think that in my state, a trip from Lexington to Bowling Green was freaking possible. Like, imagine, okay, this is what I like imagining. Like, imagine like a split set of parents. That was dark, but bear with me. And, one lives in Lexington and one lives in Bowling Green, right? And for Christmas, Lil Thomason has to go from his dad's house in Lex to his mom's house in Bowling Green. And, the two of them hate each other. They don't even want to see each other. So the dad just pays like an absurd amount of money to just send Thomason to Bowling Green through Uber Teens. Like a package through UPS. That's so funny to think about. And messed up, albeit, but funny. Uber just doesn't know how to word things on this website. It's so bad. But now I'm going to circle back to like weather for a second. Like if it's raining, like downpour, Hurricane Irma raining, is the child really going to take the time to check the license plate? Make sure the pin is correct before entering the car and all of that? circle the car, check the license. Like no. More than likely, no. That's not going to happen. They're probably going to get in the car to try to stay dry and then worry about the rest. Even if it's just sprinkling, I doubt teens will take every precaution before entering the car. And also, the advertised drivers on the FAQ website look like predators, okay? I can't not say it. This is creepy. I'm sorry, it just is. And another massive red flag with this app is the allowing of guest riders. So while a teen is on an Uber ride, they are allowed to request a pickup for another 13 to 17-year-old friend. This may sound like something normal. Uber usually has like a carpool option where you can ride with multiple people or something like that. So this may sound normal. But these are teenagers. We're talking about teenagers, right? Like, on the FAQ section about this feature, we see it say this. Like, it says 3 things. The teen is allowed to bring other riders with them, but they must be 13 years old or older. I've seen it somewhere say that they could request to pick up a rider, so that's why I said that earlier. I'm guessing that both of them are possible. Like, you can bring a rider with you or something like that. Guest riders aged 13 to 17 must say they have permission from a parent or a legal guardian. And all teens have to sit in the back seat and should buckle up. Hold on. Hold on a second. So, in order for another teen rider to be brought along with the approved rider, they just have to say that mommy and daddy allowed them to ride. They don't need an Uber Teens account themselves. They don't need their parents to physically release them to the Uber. They just have to hop in with their friend and say, yeah, my parents said I'm allowed to ride. That's insane. That is crazy. Other teens don't have to have an Uber Teens account to ride with a teen that already has an account. If the teen that requested to pick up or requested to bring along another teen has the account and is already on the trip, they can just request to pick them up or bring them along, and all that teen has to do is just get in the car and say, yeah, my parents said it's cool, and they leave. No Uber Teens account, no parental release, not even a written paper saying Jesse can ride with Thomason. Just a nod from the teen and they're off. In all of the documentation after the fact, that new teen that is now riding along with Thomason, Jesse, there is no official documentation for Jesse if something was to happen on this ride. Jesse is just kind of there. Thomason is the only documented rider that I didn't find any documentation saying that drivers have to say if there's a +1. All it is just they get in it and say, I'm good, and go. That's crazy for a kid. That's insane. The next fact is one of the biggest things that baffled me while researching the video. So, the driver of the teen, so the Uber driver, is at no point during or after the trip allowed to contact the parent or guardian of the teen they are driving. So, hold on, right? Let's say that the teen had a medical emergency, right? If the teen is passed out and is unable to alert their guardian, the Uber driver is not allowed to contact the parents. The only way that he could do it was to use the ride check feature, and he could drive off the designated course, wait for it to alert the parent that the car is off course, and then he could answer the teen's phone when the parents call him or when they try to contact the child. But Uber, once again, doesn't know how to word things on their website. In the FAQ about this topic, they say this: no, you will not be able to contact teen riders as guardians at this time. However, a parent or guardian may call you during the trip. This is fake. This is completely false, and you'll see why in a second. Your phone number will stay anonymous in the app, so they won't have your personal contact information. This is Uber's answer to the question of, can I contact the teen's parents or guardians? Probably one of the most important questions for a driver that plans to do this. This makes it seem that the driver's phone number is anonymous. If the driver's number is anonymous, then how can the parents find it to contact the driver? If the driver goes off course to try and get the parents' attention, they can't contact the driver, and the teen is incapacitated and can't answer his parents. And finally, if the driver is too scared to use the teen's phone to answer the parents' phone call, like, what happens? The tracking is still working. So I guess the parents could track down the driver and their child, but, like, wouldn't it be easier if the driver was allowed to contact the parent? I don't see any understandable excuse as to why the drivers have no ability to call the teen's parents. None at all. This just shows how shady of a business this is and how little thought out it was by the people at Uber. And oh man. So remember where I said about the number is like anonymous? It is. The parents can't actually contact the driver. That was a genuine lie by Uber on their website about a service that transports your child. I can't believe this is real. So I kept looking after writing this section of the script, and this is where I found out it was all a lie. I found this FAQ drop down that says, "How do I know if the teen's guardians are calling me?" To which Uber responded, "You won't. You won't." Wow. All calls apparently go through their Uber private chats or whatever, which is wild to me. How do they contact the driver? It's not specified. So this leads me to think that even Uber themselves won't directly contact the driver. So then are the child and driver just kind of locked in that car together until the mission's complete? No emergency evac, no stopping the ride, nothing besides 911. Like, the child is just subjected to whatever happens no matter what? This is why I say this business is like super freaking shady. Like, the parents are not allowed to contact the driver directly. The driver is essentially anonymous and cannot contact the parents. The child is not allowed to report incidents until after the drive. And the website itself, Uber themselves, are lying to their customers. Like, sure, you've got safety features like the ride tracking and the passcode, but like I said earlier, if the phone is taken from the teen, the tracking is essentially dead. The PIN idea is backwards and doesn't make a lot of sense. This is genuinely a recipe for disaster. And hey, remember the mall thing I said to remember? Well, guess what time it is. If your child was to request a ride to the local mall and you sent them there to hang out with friends, you have to realize that the mall does not enter Uber Teens mode. Once that ride stops, I can only assume the tracking through Uber stops. And you have to rely on other tracking apps if you even have them. There is no parental guardian there with the teen, so they can do whatever they want or go wherever they want without being watched by a parent. Like I said, the mall isn't on Uber Teens mode. The mall or anywhere public that they can go, like the park, the theater, anywhere like that, does not enter this mode that's like, this child is an Uber teen and cannot be messed with. No, there are still predators, there's still danger in the real world that your child is being subjected to if you are not present with them. Just because you can track their drive to and from a location doesn't make the location safer. Uber already has a track record for their app being used by predators to send unaccompanied minors to hotels and houses. With this reputation, it baffles me that they thought an app like this was a good idea. According to the Child Crime Prevention and Safety Center, roughly every 40 seconds, a child goes missing or is abducted. And while this doesn't mean that every child in this statistic is abducted, we're still living in a very rough time for kidnappings and child safety. Around 800,000 children in the U.S. are reported missing or abducted per year. And I think it's around 500,000 that's estimated to not be reported that go missing. That's like, what, 1.3 million children? Those numbers are insane. And for Uber to see these statistics and say, let's make an app where children can leave without their parents' supervision and go wherever they want, is baffling to me. And even worse, if you're trying to research for this app, unless you specifically search for the Uber Teens section, don't even think about finding it on the actual website. I tried searching for like 10 minutes on the website and couldn't find anything related to Uber Teens unless I typed it into Google and opened it up from the direct link. Like, it's so hard to find. Then whenever you get there, like, it lies to you, doesn't tell you exactly what's going on. And it's shady. It's really shady for a multi-million-dollar company. I don't know who would use this app. I have no idea why you would want to use this app. Parents, take some time to take your kids where they need to go. If they have an appointment, take some time to go with them and make sure they're safe. If they want to go to the mall, take some time to take them there and be near them in case something happens. If they want to be somewhere and you can't be with them, tell them to reschedule or just simply say no. Parents today are so freaking afraid of saying no to their kids. They don't want to be viewed as the villain. But in situations like this, safety will always be more important than giving your kid what they want. I tried researching more into it, and there aren't really a lot more things I want to cover, but there are a few things that I can spitball here at the end, such as these things, like if the child is supposed to match the face in the car to the photo on the app, what happens if the person in the app wants to change their hair or beard and just forgets to update the picture? If kids are always matched with highly rated drivers, what's happening with the ones that are low rated? Like, sure, they may not be on the app anymore, but what happened on the ride that got them the bad reviews? Can we have transparency there about what happened to those riders and the driver? If the car doesn't move for a while because it's in a traffic jam or at a red light, and the teen forgets to check their phone, is it going to send an emergency signal to the parents? In the tryouts ad, if this kid is like depressed over not making the team, do you think he would really feel like checking the license plate and stuff? Probably not. To all the parents in the ads saying that it's a lot to take multiple kids to different things like dance, basketball, tennis, and stuff like.
Till about 3 o'clock.
I leave, I drop him off, I come home and work.
I also have a second
She
job.
needs to be in a lot of places at a lot of different times.
I often wish I could be in 2 places at once.
It's busy.
That can be a lot.
Why have multiple kids? I mean, if you don't want to care for any of them, why do you want kids in the first place? That's the whole point of being a parent, is you have to do stuff for your kid and take your kid places. Fun fact, Inside Out 2 did a collab with Uber Teens and promoted this app when the movie came out. Yeah, that's real. It's on the screen right now. And if every highly rated driver is taken at the time and a teen requests a ride, are they going to get a low rated driver because at the time that's technically the highest rated driver available? That's just a few questions that I don't want to really dive into, but I genuinely can't believe there are no other YouTubers talking about this. As I mentioned earlier, the comments on the ads themselves are talking about how weird this idea is, but apparently it's not that big of a deal because even Disney is sponsoring it, for God's sake. But I mean, we know how these types of companies are anyways. But anyways, it's just weird that no one is talking about this more. This app has been out for over a year, and even though there aren't really any reports about any abductions yet, it's just a matter of time before someone finds a way to manipulate the app and starts abducting children. I think someone needs to ring up Dara. We'll just call him Dog. Someone needs to call up our dog over here and tell him that this is genuinely a creepy and gross business model. Parents, if you've made it this far, please just watch after your kids. Don't rely on a stranger to get them from point A to point B. Do it yourself. Your children should be your top priority. And to put them in the hands of a stranger is something that you should never even consider doing. As for the rest of you, thank you so much for watching the video. I've got more content on the way. We're starting a consistent schedule for posting content soon. More news on that in the coming weeks. But I'm really liking this video style. I love making these types of videos, and I have so many ideas for them that I want to keep making them. Leave your comment about how you feel about Uber Teens down below. I genuinely want to read what you all had to say. Am I overreacting? Am I right to be concerned like I am? Let me know. And also, let me know what you think about this video style. I really appreciate the freaking love on the Call of Duty video. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate all of the honest feedback and the love on that video. I genuinely thank you all. Let me know if you want to keep seeing these types of videos. Give me ideas for videos. I would be totally down to do fan suggested videos. And as always, stay out of jail, stay cloudy, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care, everyone.